Good evening, everyone. Is the audio working? Yes, okay, rough start. Good evening, everyone. Today we have the CR-30 3D print mill with us and a camera setup that is not very happy to work for me. Okay, I'm gonna fix that in a second. What do we have? Okay, so some of you have already seen the thumbnail. Who was it? Yeah, saying I also got the rollers. That is, you know, this printer is, does the top camera work? Oh yeah, that one works at least. So this is just the CR-30. Obviously I didn't unbox it. Obviously I didn't get it out of the box yet. So that photo you're seeing on the thumbnail, that's from Creality's Kickstarter video. So that's not the printer I have. And yeah, just a general note. This is a product that is on Kickstarter, on crowdfunding right now. This is not a finished design, and that goes both ways. So what I have here is very likely not going to be what you will get when you back the Kickstarter or back the crowdfunding campaign and pledge a certain amount of money to get this printer. And you know, those changes that they're making between what I have right now to what will be delivered in March 2021 from the Kickstarter campaign, they might go both ways. So they might be improving things that aren't working as well right now, but excuse me. But they might also be, you know, cost-saving measures that make the printer, you know, maybe not tangibly worse, but just kind of change things. I don't know. Like, that's always the thing you have to keep in mind with crowdfunding campaigns. The hardware that is being shown and being advertised right now is, like I said, not finished hardware. So just saying, because it's going to come up, this printer is on Kickstarter. Yes, it's like $600, $800 or something. And that is quite a steal compared to the printer that this is kind of sister model to, the NAC 3D White Knight that Creality is working with to get this printer out, which is a $9,500 custom-made machine. So this is literally less than 1/10 of that. So yeah, why is this camera not working? That's kind of stressing me out. I'm gonna need that. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Post your question in chat, and I'll try to keep an eye on it. This camera has no power. Why, camera? Why do you have no power? Did I rip out the power adapter? Come on, come on, GH5. Don't do me like this. It was working a second ago. Oh God. Okay, I guess we will fix that when the time comes. Well, that B-cam, it ain't working. Can we actually put in... Oh, we can put the top cam... Oh, that's upside down. Well, I guess we're just gonna get rid of that entirely. Where's the background? There's the background. So, we still have this. Oh, please set the clock. Why are you not on clean feed? This is such a great start. Oh God. Oh God. So I guess I'm using this and this. Oh well. Cool. Yeah, all the details on, you know, minimum backing amount, etc. you can find on the Kickstarter website, which is linked in the description below. Let's just dig in. Is it where he puts the secondary camera? Yeah, usually bottom right, secondary camera. But secondary camera, I mean, I did change a few things about the setup, but I didn't expect it to break like this. So I guess that I can use as well. Black build, which is over 10 grand. Oh, I must have been mixing those up. So this printer, obviously, so Stefan did the unboxing of this thing yesterday. Exact same thing. If you want, you know, more live streaming experience, you can watch Stefan's stream. I'm gonna try to fly through this. I'm not gonna succeed, I know. We get a manual. We get an invitation to be the next customer of Creality Cloud. Oh, that's something that might be interesting. So instruction manual, we're gonna need that. We get a little tiny spool of filament. I don't think I'm going to be using that. same old spool mount. Now, in general, if you look at this printer, it's kind of a mashup between like Ender 3 components and new parts, which is, you know, what Creality is doing with most of their printers. It's, you know, I don't want to say recycling, but reusing of parts that, you know, they have already developed. And that makes sense. When you have dozens of printer models, you can't like re-engineer everything from scratch. Okay, now this is quite the box. This is quite a large, you know, quite a large box and quite a large printer that I'm going to get out of this, hopefully. That's that. So I'm trying to make this as light as possible. Maybe less than 1 second latency. Yeah, that's pretty good. Ultra low latency on YouTube is certainly working as advertised. There is a connecting cable going down here. I guess that might be instructions for unboxing this. So somebody said to Stefan he should have opened this from the bottom. Yes, this is the extruder cable. Wow, that is quite the long cable run. David Underwood, you can always scroll back in these streams. You can always go backwards and, you know, check the stream. Or, of course, if you want to, you can also watch the recording. Now, I would have hoped that this was like attached with a connector. Like this, it's one big part that you kind of have to get out. And I don't think I'm going to be able to get this out from the desk in one piece without destroying things. So let me set this down real quick and I'll get it back up on the table in 1 second. So yeah, it is quite a bit larger than, you know, Ender 3 CR6 SE, you know, those standard size printers, but like the effective build volume is, well, the effective build volume is kind of similar if you ignore the fact that this has an infinitely long z-axis. Okay. There is a connector right there, but that is not for the gantry. Will this fall off? Wow, this is quite the beast. There was a little tiny screw that fell out. That's an M3x8 or something. Not sure where that is from, and it's kind of disconcerting. Can you come out? Holy crap, this is heavy. So this is where the actual, come on. Oh, more stuff attached. Display is attached. This is, oh, it's a big fat ground wire. It's almost like they put that there for me to find. Hi. Okay. All right. Where was I? Oh God. Okay. Oh yeah, that is hand cut. Why is my camera not working? Guys, I'm gonna let you take a look at this for a bit, and I'm gonna have to try and fix my B camera because I need that to show you stuff. One moment, please. This thing, for some reason, is not getting power at all. And cameras, as we all know, they need they kind of need some electricity to work. With these GH5s, it's, you know, you gotta use those stupid dummy batteries. There we go. Oh. And apparently I ripped the cord out of one. Here we go. Let's see if I turn this to M. Maybe we can get rid of the overlay on that one as well. I know this is very exciting to watch. Tom trying to fix his camera setup. Lots of packaging in these. So let's try again. B camera, yes. A camera, yes. C camera, yes. Top camera, okay. All right. What did we find? Yeah, so I can actually get this and this back in here, and I can switch over to that. So one thing I just saw, the way the screen is dangling in, is they've got a fat ground wire going into the screen, and then they've got the regular, what is this, 10-pin connector? I don't know if this came unplugged, but that's like, I've been pointing out in my recent reviews if like the frame wasn't grounded or anything. That's like, yeah, we grounded the screen. We made sure of that. Okay. All right. Setup is good. 45-degree printing isn't really basic. Yeah. Who is Naomi? Naomi Wu. She works with Creality. She's a Chinese YouTuber. She works with Creality on... She worked with Creality on getting this printed to market, on giving feedback on the design, and on making sure this thing is... Holy crap, this is big. Making sure this thing is suitable to be shipped. So, where do we start? We should start with the manual, I would guess. Have a drink? Yeah, I've got some apple juice over here. I look exhausted already. Yeah, it's... Thankfully, I'm ready to wrap up 2020. Last live stream for the year. There's going to be 2 more videos, one of which is already produced, and just needs... Well, it's already approved. I could publish it, but that is scheduled for next week. So next week is going to be a review video, and then after that, there's going to be one more Creality Cloud, one more regular video. So, but for today, we're going to do. How is it? That's an interesting texture, actually. That is a very interesting texture. So this already looks dusty. I don't know if this has been tested. Looks like there's streaks in here. Maybe if we do like this. Yeah. Tom runs low latency. Yeah, I've actually got a full 4K 60 capable setup now, but I have to run it at 1080p 60 so that chat has lower latency for me. I mean, wouldn't really matter if you guys have more latency in viewing this stuff, but I want to be able to react to what you guys are saying. Mark III's Plus review? Probably not. Like there's so little change. I don't know if you guys, yeah, that you can see, right? There's like a dot pattern on this belt already. That's going to be interesting. So, I mean, this is like my first time seeing this belt in person, and it kind of looks like it reminds me of the construction of timing belts. So if you look at we've got a timing belt down here. So it's got that same sort of fiber layer in there, and this has kind of a greenish layer. Yeah, you can just make that out, right? It's got like sort of a greenish layer, and then this textured pattern on top. So there were a lot of questions in Stefan's stream yesterday about what this material is, and I guess the consensus was it's nylon, but I would say it's just the top surface that's nylon. It's a it's a multi-layer construction, and it is fairly flat actually. It's a bit of a, yeah, but that's intentional. That looks pretty good. There's a heating zone back here. So you can see there's kind of like a heated bed back here, which is actually kind of floating. And then there's a cooling zone, I assume they're calling it, which is just an unheated plate up front here. So when you actually run this belt and kind of eject parts off the front, this section right here is going to cool your parts and get them to release. New belts will be smooth nylon and won't have that line texture. Okay, well if the parts bond enough to that smooth texture, then yeah, I guess that works as well. Let's get going with the assembly. So again, this is pre-release hardware, and I'm surprised that they do have a manual already. I mean, this must be pretty far along the development process. So that's English and Chinese as well. Yeah, this bed comes pre-leveled supposedly. So many camera angles to choose from. This bed comes pre-leveled supposedly, and the leveling instructions are pretty involved from what I've checked. Like there are like 6 different leveling points for this thing, because you don't just have to do the leveling of the bed, but you also have to keep the belt under constant tension, and that is pretty tricky. So these are pre-assembled, I guess, by a factory process. And welcome aboard, Andrew Rogers. Okay, so you get the typical tools, you get your snips, you get your wrench, your nozzle change, socket, all those things are included. Did my model come with the roller extensions? Winged Nerfer. It did not. The roller extension, if you back that, it is a separate purchase on the Kickstarter campaign. There you go. Now, whether you need that or not, or whether you can do with like some, you know, what are those called? Those like rollers you'd use for like a miter table or something. You can use those as well, and I don't think they need to be like super rollery, slippery. You can just put like a little stool up here. All right. Okay, I'm not going to be able to answer a ton of questions right now, but just one more. What will you print, Johan is asking. Please don't say the cube. No, I've actually prepared a part that I actually need. I'm going to print something that's actually useful. So we will be setting up the slicer for this thing today, which I hope comes included on the SD card, because this thing doesn't go. This thing doesn't just use your standard Cura or Prusa slicer or anything. This needs a specialized slicer as well. Bottom belt assembly. Okay, we've got this. Profile bracket. Profile bracket 2 M5 by 12, 4 pieces, and they install into the ends of these profiles. So it's kind of unwieldy because the gantry, this is, by the way, this is a full Core XY gantry. This is already attached, so I don't want to move it too fast. This is a full Core XY gantry with 10mm belts, which is pretty beefy. And I guess if you, yeah, I was thinking about like maybe modifying this to be a standard XYZ printer. You know, maybe if you want to do that, you can put a standard XZ gantry on this thing and use the belt as the Y-axis, and then this could be an XY axis for, you know, another printer if you want to do that. Because really, I mean, I've asked Jeff on this yesterday, but I don't think I personally would make use of the Infinite Z feature all that often. M5 by 12, okay. Because like printing large parts, it takes a long time, and it uses a lot of filament, and I personally rarely need parts that are that big. So I would actually be more interested in having a printer that can just spit out parts and eject them after you're done. Now, of course, Creality can't sell that because there's a patent on that by MakerBot, Stratasys. So if you want something like that, you have to build it yourself. So this guy goes here. Is that going to be? Yeah, you can't really see much there. So I'm going to keep you guys on the top camera. Yeah, batch printing, COVID mask after COVID mask, well, face shields, right? Or I mean, you could just not leave the house for like 9 months or something. That also works. So does this have some sort of an alignment? I don't see anything, so I'm guessing I'm just gonna square it up on the side here as best as I can. Why didn't you want to do a video live stream for the iFactory 1? I just don't have one. There's nothing personal, nothing, you know, keeping me from doing it. It's just Creality got in touch with me, was like, hey, would you like to try this out? And I was like, yeah, sure. This thing took like a month to get here, which is why everyone else already has unboxed theirs, and I'm kind of the last one to do it. And yeah, I don't know, just the occasion hasn't presented itself yet. Ooh, that's those like little locking washers, right? Yeah. Okay, first two parts done. That looks fairly solid. Just little angle brackets on there. It looks very, you know, flimsy and yeah, bendable, but I guess once you have the full triangular structure up here, this should be pretty rigid. Any mods around? I sure could use some modding right now. Does the belt negate the heated bed? I don't know what you mean. Okay, install XY axis belt assembly. And I did watch parts of Stefan's stream yesterday. Basically, you kind of have to be a bit careful where you put this wiring loom. But otherwise, this should be fairly straightforward. Okay, so I just need to make sure I put it on right side up. Okay, so this there. Oh God. So this needs to go out. I guess two people would be nice for this assembly. And that's just making sure I'm not clamping down any wires. Okay, that's the front. The screen's gonna probably go right here. And then there's threaded holes in those profiles that I can screw into. Yeah, this is quite the machine. Yeah, folks of below, I could very much use a hand right now. We are using M18, the flathead or panhead screws right here. Okay, so these go in here. Should be pretty simple. So there's just one plate that connects the core XY gantry to this upright, and I guess all I have to do is make sure this is like pressed down. Stefan, yeah, I told you yesterday I was playing some Rocket League. I was having fun for once. But hey, good to see you around, Stefan. Oh, Max3D is also around. Where is he at? Hey, there he is. Good to have you here too. And 3 more screws down here. All the same, 20, yes. $666 people watching. Oh, I didn't think like people would still be interested in seeing more CR-30 after I don't know how many people have already unboxed these. And you know, Angus just like 3 or 4 days ago has already made a review on this thing. And again, like I touched on this at the beginning of the stream, you can't really review pre-release hardware because again, it's not going to be this thing that I have and that everyone else has right now is not what is going to be shipped. It might be better, it might be worse, but they're definitely going to be changing things. And the way that Angus did it with just looking at like the pros and cons of a belt printer versus, you know, this specific implementation of a belt printer, I think that's a great approach to take a look at these machines. But it also confirms that, you know, a regular printer that doesn't have the special feature of, you know, being a belt printer, I don't think there's any value in reviewing pre-production printers that are like not special, because like I said, the hardware might change, and the devil's in the details with you know, mass-produced 3D printers right now. Such small changes can make such a big difference in the experience you have with these printers. Oh, Barnacle also has one. That's going to be interesting. I don't want to know what he's going to be printing with his, but all right. So we are, where are we at? So this is done, that's done. Oh, there's 2 more screws from the bottom. Okay, always double check the instructions. I guess this is kind of like the assembly of, you know, any other 3D printer where you screw down the gantry through the bottom profiles, but that's also no, that's M5 by 45. I've got 2 left of these. Why should a normal person buy such a printer? That is a great question. Who asked that? Luca, what's going on here? Lots of spares in the kit. Okay. Michael, another commercial for Creality. Nah, not really. I mean, if you want to see it as a commercial, but I mean that's your thing. But really, this is just my first impressions of this printer. And you know, if you're interested in seeing what those 22s. If you're interested in seeing what those are, then you're welcome, but I mean, I have no intent of getting you to buy this printer. Where are these screws that they're talking about? 21. So there's, okay, so that's where the long screws go. And yeah, I guess I shouldn't have to say this, but what are you? I guess I'm going to plug you in later. Yeah, Creality did provide this printer to me free of charge, as they did to every other person that you're seeing there. That you're seeing the CR-30 being, you know, tested, unboxed, shown. Right now, Creality is not charging people. I don't think they're paying people either. I do not accept payment for reviews. I guess some companies see that as like, oh yeah, for your efforts, we want to pay you like X amount. I do not take payment, or I mean, I do not charge companies for reviews. I do not accept payment for reviews, though I'm thinking about actually, I should accept payment for reviews and then, you know, donate that to, I don't know, Greenpeace or something. And honestly, like, I know somebody's going to bring it up. I don't care about having more printers. I'm having to disassemble old machines because they're getting in the way, and I have no space for more printers. So every printer that I get is actually something that I now have to care for and either, you know, dispose of or ship somewhere, which is hella expensive, or, you know, do something else with. So I really don't want more printers. Okay, yeah, Stefan actually just recently like added another floor to his house because he has so many printers. I'm missing hexagon socket head spring washer combination screw M5x12. I don't think I have those. So either I've thrown those out or I really don't have those. So, ooh, that is noisy. If you've ever assembled a Creality printer, this is kind of like what the instructions look like. Let me see, I have done, so 20. 20 is the hexagon socket head flat screw. 20 and then down here. So 1 up top and then 3 at the bottom. I've done those. 1 is the assembly, yeah, I've got that. 22, this is what I'm kind of looking at. Hexagon socket head spring screw. So those go in from the bottom and I don't have any of those. Unless I like got rid of them somehow. These are M5x12. The closest thing are these. Donate to local schools. Well, the thing is also like the printers I want to get rid of, those are the crappy ones, and I really don't want to supply my local schools with crappy printers that I then have to support as well. Because like that's the other thing that people never see.
If you need to make room for new printers, then please make another unprintering episode.
This doesn't feel right. Yeah, this screw doesn't go in all the way. I'm just gonna skip this screw from the bottom here. I'm just not gonna be, yeah, I'm not gonna put these in. Thanks for the 5, Derek. Do another unprintering episode. Well, which one did I unprinter? I don't know, but that's kind of like too revengey for me. I do disassemble a lot more printers than I show on the channel, and I don't really want to do like a revenge video on, hey, you shipped me such a crappy printer that I had to spend the time on, that I'm now disassembling it. I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm going to leave out this this bottom screw because really I'm not feeling. I've put in a different screw. So there's 22 right here, which is supposedly a M12x2 combination screw. I don't see the screw. I've threaded it in and it doesn't feel like it's actually grabbing anything. So I'm not going to put it in. It is, yeah, like this thing is sturdy enough. Should be all right. Welcome aboard, Joel Hübner. Thanks for becoming a member. So that's done. Not to instructions. Like I said, pre-production, they're hopefully going to fix this before they ship the production units in March. M5 T-nuts, M5x8, that's these short guys. So this spool mount goes on, the screen goes on, pretty simple stuff. And then we need the hammer nuts. The one with springs go in the bottom. Yeah, I've got the ones with springs that I have are these 45s, and those definitely do not fit. I don't have any other, you know, spring washered screws. Hübner. Welcome aboard. He can't find the ones with the springs. Yes. Mad Scientist, have you missed a lot? I've missed 2 screws. That's all that you've missed. So this spool mount goes behind the screen on the right-hand side. Okay, so we've got the extruder up here, which is a kind of interesting design. So CNC milled aluminum design there. You know, basic principle is the same, but it has adjustable tension, which is nice to see. And then this guy just goes here. And then this feeds into, there you go, into the extruder right. Oh, why are you so dark? Guessing filming directly into the softbox isn't all that great. Now this, yeah, it goes to the filament sensor first, and there is ample space between the filament sensor right here and the extruder, which is something that they really messed up on the CR6 SE. But it doesn't look like it's going to fit like a 2-point-something kilogram spool. This is only going to fit like the regular small 1 kilogram spools. So for the larger spools, which this printer definitely kind of needs to be used with, you should probably look at some sort of a, external spool mount. The front angle brackets have them in it. Have what in it? Oh, the screws. Yeah, well, those came in there. Did they? Oh, okay. I thought those were the ones that were installed in there. Okay. Thank you for that hint, guys. And thankfully, yeah, there they are. I mean, these work here too, right? So I guess let's try. How many do you? Oh, so they shipped for. How many? Let me double check this. This isn't going too well. Front plates M5x12. Okay. I'm already messing up. Okay, so these should not be in here. These need to go in the bottom, and they shipped 4 instead of the 2 that you need, I guess. Big spool holder out of the box. Yeah, definitely. So obviously the intent with this printer is to print big parts that have, theoretically infinite length in the Z-axis, which is the belt. As Stefan discovered yesterday, this printer is configured with the belt as the actual, firmware Z-axis. And for that, you will need more than 1 kilogram of filament, like I guess the swords that are being shown off. Those easily take more than 1 kilogram. And yeah, even if you want to use it just for continuous production, you will need more than 1 kilogram spool. Like the filament sensor. If there's ever a printer that needs a filament printer, this is a filament. If there's ever a 3D printer that needs a filament sensor, this is it. Like, I can forgive other printers for not having a filament sensor, and to a point, I don't know if they're pointless or not, but well, they're definitely useful for using up those last bits. But on this printer, like, you definitely need a filament sensor. There's just no way around it. Why do not present the iFactory? Well, I don't have one. I've talked about it a second ago. This needs to go around here. And Creality was just first in offering me a unit. And also there seems to be a bit more interest in the Creality machine than in the iFactory one right now. So, yeah. So I'm gonna mount this screen real quick before I do the screws in the bottom, because the screen still is kind of dangling around and I really don't want to rip out that cable. There you go. So I will need to plug that in. Streamlabs gonna play a notification for that? Yeah.
I think whatever 3D printer or other technique you get your hands on, it is your own thoughts, and this is what I like to support. Merry Xmas, enjoy these days.
Merry Christmas to you too, Michael. I don't know where he's from. Thanks for the 25. And yeah, the live streams very much are the most unfiltered thoughts you're gonna get from me. I guess this left side is completely flat. The reviews are, you know, when I actually take some time and think about what I want to say, and maybe... Oh, look, it's another Creality printer. The reviews are, you know, a moment where I actually script things beforehand, and I think about what I want to say and how I want to say it, and... Why is there a thread in this profile? But yeah, live streams are really just me in the moment, commenting on what I'm seeing, what is happening, and how I feel about the experience I'm having. Real life to scripted, well, here's the thing. If you prefer the live streams, I mean, I'm very happy for that. I don't see a lot of people that actually prefer live streams to regular videos.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
That is a weird way to say Halloween. I don't know a lot of people that actually prefer just live streams to, you know, the fully produced reviews that are, you know, edited and scripted and polished. But when it comes to putting, like, I don't want to say deep thoughts, but like, trying to make sense of a product, trying to make sense of where it fits in, how it performs, like what its pros, cons are, what its intended use cases are, maybe where the manufacturer screwed up and what they did really well. If I want to talk about that in a format that people are actually going to watch, I have to script it beforehand. I'm not an English native speaker. I use so much brain power just for finding words and stuff already that, you know, trying to keep a consistent, as you can see right now, trying to stay consistent, trying to get all my points across in the right tone, like that is impossible for me to do unscripted. Or, I mean, it is possible, but then I spend 3 days editing everything down. So those reviews, regular videos, to get them to the level of quality and conciseness that I want them to, I need to script them. But I'm hoping, you know, it's not too obvious that they're scripted, unless I show the teleprompter, of course. But then, yeah, that is intentional. And welcome aboard, Faraneo, as a member. Good to have you around. So this one was apparently already tested because there is a, oops, nope. There is a pretty deep groove in this Bowden tube. Like, this is pretty deeply cut. So I'm guessing they did test this printer beforehand. And they are also zipping down the wiring loom or zip tying down the wiring loom to the Bowden tube, as opposed to what they did on the CR-6SE by using those like, oh, you're going on pretty far. Using those little bongo ties or whatever those are, and those slide around, zip ties, they just stay in place. They don't look super nice, but functionally, they're the best thing you could have. And one more thing I'm seeing here is there is, maybe I can snipe in with this camera. Nope. I'm not going to be able to show you guys this, but there is another like fat ground wire. If I lift this up, maybe you can see it. Yeah, that's the screw head back here. Okay, no. Fat ground wire going to the tool head. So they really made sure to ground every single part of this machine, which I appreciate. I don't know if it's really that necessary that you're grounding like everything, but might as well. They might also have just done that on the machine that I got, but I don't know. Where were we? So we made it through all these screwing together assembly parts. spool holder is on, the screws in the bottom are in, the screen is mounted. Okay. So supposedly this is a process that takes 30 minutes. We're at 47, but like, well.
Enjoying your videos. Thank you and greetings from Stuttgart.
And not just a member, but also tipping $5. Thank you for that, Faranio. And greetings back to Stuttgart. Yeah, it depends on where you're from in Germany, whether you say Stuttgart or whether you say Stuttgart. It's regionally different, and that makes it quite interesting. Okay, cable connection. Power adapter cable, so that's the IC connector, the standard thing. After the display is installed, please connect the display cable. Yeah, that did slide back out. So this is not a locking connector. And it's not like this cable is ever going to be moving, but since this has already slid out on me, I guess I would prefer a locking connector right there. Louisville? I guess that's another one, yeah. All around like that? Okay, that's nice. You should do the next live stream in French. I don't even speak French. I had Latin in school. Like that was any use. Connect the display cable, Y-axis limit line. So I guess I should also plug in the filament sensor. That's not in the instructions as far as I can tell. Yeah. So this still needs to go into the instructions. Filament sensor right there. Guessing that's going to work. Okay, that and what else? The Y-axis limit switch. There's a loose connector down here. I'm guessing that's what I need. Maybe.
I want to see the spelt printer printing a belt. Smiley face. Thank you, Thomas. You brought me to 3D printing.
Thanks for the 5 French schnitzel. The belt printer printing a belt. I guess we could, not in this stream, but God damn it, this is tight. Maybe like with flexible filament, I know there were a whole bunch of like belt, and not as in like timing belts, but like belts for pants kind of designs a while ago on Thingiverse. I guess we could print one of those out of flexible. Should work. I mean, on a traditional printer, those would be printed just curled up. So you'd print that in one piece, and then you take it off the platform, and it would be kind of like curving around you initially. But because it's flexible, we can unflex it. But with this one, you can just print it in one long straight piece. Maybe that's a good idea for Etsy or something. Custom names on belts and stuff. You never know. But yeah, thanks, Prince Schnitzel. Cable connection. You know, live streams are always, they are intense. They are intense. They're stressful when you get ready for them. Like, oh, I gotta do this. They are intense when you do them because there's so many things you have to keep track of at any time. And then you also have to build a printer, somehow. So building the printer is actually the side event for me. All the other things are what I'm spending my brain power on. Not that there's all that much of it, but yeah, you need to allocate it. Input voltage, 115, 230. Okay, let's check that first. I don't want to blow up this power supply, and it is set to 230. I'm guessing they default to 230 because if you plug a 230 power supply into 115, it's not going to hurt anything. But the other way around, you're going to blow up 2 capacitors. Leveling. Okay. Nozzle is too far away. So that is just bed leveling. Yeah, this is not adjustment of the belt or anything. This is really just bed leveling. Y-axis end stop adjust the scope. Okay, let's try and get this right. So I'm not plugging anything in yet. Right, I'm not powering this thing on, am I? I guess I'm not plugging this in yet. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Very nice cable tie locations on the inside of the frame for all the wires going to the LCD extruded hot. And yes, I noticed those. And I think I will use those in a second. Those are the... Come on, little camera. There we go. Those little winglets that they've got running up and down the frame. I'm guessing those can take the wiring loom for the extruder. Kind of like that. But that's going to be something I'm going to have to do. This motor came unplugged. Yeah, a lot of connector unplugging that I'm seeing on this printer. I guess because it's just the wiring runs are so long and not everything is supported. But I guess once everything gets tied down, that's going to get fixed. Okay. Plug into to level the belt. I'm guessing it does. It puts less strain on the stepper drivers, as far as I know, if this thing is actually powered up. So I guess I should do that, and I maybe should grab along. No, this is gonna be fine. Okay, first time plugging in. I mean, this thing is pretty much all pre-assembled. Has the old classic text-based LCD. Oh, that took way too long for Comfort to boot up. I'm guessing they might put the nicer screen from something like the Ender 3v2 on this before they ship it out. I don't know. It would make a lot of sense. This being like, oh, this connector is pretty loose. Would make a lot of sense for, you know, this basically being one of Creality's most expensive printers, and it would have the super simple text screen on it. I mean, this works, right? This is the standard like Marlin menu. This works, but of course the graphic screen just looks a lot nicer. Level. I guess I can home this, right? All right, and disable. If I go back here, that's going to be kind of hard to see, but I'm going to use my after-sales, ooh, that noise reduction. I'm going to use my after-sales service card, and I'm going to notice this is very tight, but this is also a very thick card. This feels like it's pressing down a bit too hard. Steppers are disabled. Now this is weird because you have... When is this end stop triggering? Where even is this end stop? Okay, back here. Maybe can you guys see on this camera?
Hi, Thomas would love to upgrade to this printer. When is it coming out?
1 second, I'm going to answer that real soon. Where is this end stop? Oh, it's an optical end stop. Okay, okay. Thanks for the 5, Terminal LCCP. This printer is right now on Kickstarter, so okay. So when is it coming out? Well, it is shipping in March, March. Yeah, March 2021 is when they're estimating they're going to ship it. But of course, keep in mind this is a crowdfunded product, so what you're going to get is going to depend on how much they change until then. But yeah, if you want this at the earliest possible date, is it the earliest possible date considering that you could buy the CR6 SE before the backers got theirs? I don't know. Like that's the official answer. Like if you want this at the earliest possible dates, then oh, there's an adjustment screw. Okay, then you should check out Kickstarter. You need to move the mechanical end stop first. Yes, I'm seeing that. I'm guessing this screw adjusts that. Maybe? There's a spring. Let me check the instructions again. Y-axis end stop adjusting screw, and this is adjusting the screw. Where are we at? There. So A is the adjusting screw, and B is the adjusting the screw. I'm guessing that's what I tried. I'm gonna undo the A screws, and then I can use the B screw to raise it up and down. But right now, only the, actually I can focus this camera. I don't have to do, I don't have to be out of focus. Right now only this screw is coming out of the sheet metal part. I'm not sure how much more I'm gonna have to adjust this. It has mechanical end stops and optical end stops. Okay, now you're adjusting the optical. Yes, I'm guessing this is what this is loose. This is loose. It's loose, and that's loose as well. Why can I not adjust this? Or is that actually? Is that actually moving it up and down? I can't tell. You need to adjust the mechanical ones first. Where are the mechanical ones then? Push the two limit switches against the X sliding block to lock the limit. Okay. So this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing then. So there is mechanical. Huh. No, there. So as in mechanical end stop, it's not a mechanical switch, it's literally an end stop block. Push the two limit switches against the X sliding block to lock the limit. So I'm guessing then this one, yeah, this one then is also going to have to be unlocked. Guess I should actually just read the instructions. It's all in there. That's the wrong size. Okay, so this, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. What are you? Why are you? Oh, how? Oh, okay, that's another locking screw for the optical one. Interesting. So basically, this needs to come undone as well. In this case, the optical sensor is used so it doesn't wear out from constant contact like a mechanical would. Slightly press the nozzle onto the belt. So I'm going to unlock this, or just make sure it is unlocked. Yeah, that is, it's actually contacting the silicone sock. I might need to cut that one up a bit further because it looks like the stock modification on that is not done very cleanly. I can show you guys in a second. Make sure you move the paper. It still looks like it's making very good contact. Now this is just, yeah. So that's one here, and then this one also clamps down there. And it's just this bottom screw, right, that it clamps it in place. And then these screws, let me adjust the optical end stop. But let me see what the instructions are. Micro switches are fine for accuracy. Yeah, I actually did a video on, did I include a micro switch? I think I did. They're pretty good, especially when you, especially when you remove the lever. Okay, push the 2 limit switches against the X sliding blocks to limit the level. Okay, press back on the screen to get the printer back to the origin. Adjust the Y and stop adjusting screw according to the position of the nozzle relative to the bed after back to the origin in order to make sure the nozzle contacting with the belt. Woo! Okay, somebody needs to take a look at these instructions and actually just double check them, because this is, again, this is not a beginner printer. Press back on the screen to get the printer back to the origin. We're at number 3 right now. Adjust the Y-axis end stop adjusting screw according to the position of the nozzle relative to the belt after back to the origin in order to make sure the nozzle contacting with the belt rightly. Then tighten the Y-axis end stop screw, leveling finished. I think I know what they mean, but like, yeah. So I'm going to do auto home again. And now we are at a rather large gap from the nozzle to the belt. You can see that right there. So I'm guessing I'm just going to adjust this down back here. So with this screw, it's going to lower the optical end stop until this nozzle starts making contact. Yeah, used to home, it will, yep. Makes sense. Okay, I guess I also have to loosen this one slightly. Okay, so basically now I've undone these screws and this top one, and now you can see it's sliding up and down, and this is the platform that's actually holding the optical end stop. So many things going on at the same time on this printer, and I mean, I'm glad that they've got the belt pre-leveled. Okay, we're getting close, sir. Just a bit more. And you can kind of see that that silicone sock that's weirdly cut. We're like 1 millimeter off still. It really depends on where you look. Half a mil or something? Doesn't look like it's going down any further. It really doesn't look like, oh, that's because the, these, nope, still space there. Why are you not going down any further? I'm just gonna leave it like that. Like, I can see a very faint gap between the nozzle and the belt still. That might be really hard to see from your perspective, but if I give you some light from the back, yeah, you can see there's still a gap between the nozzle and the belt, but this is as far down as it's going. You might need to move the mechanical ones down a bit further. Let me see if they actually make contact. Yeah, no, neither side is making contact. There's like still half a millimeter left. You know what, I'm gonna try and tighten down these slidey screws just a bit, just to make sure they're not like flopping all over the place. I'd adjust them so that the travel of the optical is in the middle of the mechanical. Oh, that's not the right screw. Joel had to move the belt up. Okay. So now these are tightened down a bit more. Come on. See if that is better. Nope, still a gap. Yeah, adjustment is not something that I guess is a lot of fun to watch, right? But it just... Okay, now we're down, okay. But it is part of this printer's setup. Like, I'm not sure if Creality is very clear about the messaging on the crowdfunding campaign, but this is not a beginner's printer. If you want a beginner's printer, just like get it in the 3v2 or something. If you want to buy something from Creality. Yeah, you can see the silicone sock is actually making contact before the nozzle. I'm gonna leave it at that for now. And I'm gonna call it good enough, at least to get some first prints out. So that means I need to lock down these screws. So yeah, print quality on this is gonna be interesting because it doesn't play by the rules of your traditional printer. And you guys have seen the videos. Overhangs work completely differently, but that can be a pro and a con. Leveling done, I guess, according to the manual. Let me check. If there's any seam or over contact between the nozzle and the belt, adjust the leveling nut slightly. Okay, so I guess we can adjust these. So that, okay. And this should be a lock, yep. And then with these we can, yeah. So these wing or star nuts, where's one, there's one. This up top here is the actual leveling screw. There you go. That's the actual leveling screw, and then this is just a locking nut, I would guess. So I can undo this, and then this one? No. This is loose. How does this work? Oh, it's got some elasticity to it. I don't understand. So up front here, this shouldn't matter. It should actually just matter in the back here, but we'll see. We'll adjust those if we have to during the print, before the print. We will see. Once it is printing, you can also baby step the y-axis from the tune menu. Okay, that's really helpful. Preheating. Do we need to do preheating? Temperature to rise, hang the filament. Load filament, start printing. Install the software, okay. Circuit wiring, troubleshooting, kind of the same you get with the other Creality printers. Let's set up the software, because that's the part that I'm actually interested in. Well, aside from the printer itself, but I do want to see how slicing something itself is going to work and like how the slicer works. I'm going to have to grab my STL real quick. Too many screens going on. So there's two 32-inch TVs, basically the cheapest kind you can get, and then I've got the laptop screen that I'm going to show you the screen cap off in a second, and then I've got my streaming screen as well. Lots of stuff going on at the same time. So this one I want here, and then you go eject, and then you go in here, and I copy you there. Okay. We get, yeah, Stefan has commented on this as well, full-size SD card, NetAC, 8 gigabytes of a Class 10 SDHC. We get the usual card reader, which we don't actually need to use. Let's plop this guy in and see what we get. We need this mouse. We get the user manual. That's going to be the same user manual that I just showed you in paper form. Yep, same stuff. So if you prefer looking at that in digital form, software and drivers, crealitybelt.msi. So this is a version of the black belt slicer as far as I know. Hi. And it's Cura. It's the new Cura that has been modified to work at the 45-degree angle that these printers need to work at. Belts on version of Cura. What? Where'd you go? And we have the Creality belt slicer. So I did try out the... was it the black belt slicer? I think it was the black belt slicer. I tried that out a minute ago just to see like if there was anything special, and you can set up custom printers on that as well. Actually, no, you don't need network access. Oh, and I clicked the don't agree. Ah, come on. There's so many cookie banners right now that it's like, yo, whenever you see I agree, I don't agree, it's like, nope, I don't want your cookies. Don't know what's in them. I understand and I agree. Okay, we've got the 3D print mill. That's it. And no, I don't want anonymous, especially because I don't think that even goes to... don't think that even goes to Creality. So okay, that's quite the print envelope. So there's the home. Home is back here. Home is right there. I'm guessing if I don't want my prints to first scroll through the entirety of the belt to land back here, I need to place them up front here, maybe? Desktop, where's my nut holder? There we go. And it places it a bit in, okay. Can I move you up front? So this is, what are you? This is a holder for M3 square nuts that, well, that should actually be interesting to print. That slides into a 40-40 extrusion. And I guess you could just line them up one after the other and just do, you know, an infinite amount of them, essentially, but I need like 4. So I'm guessing I'm just going to print 1 for now. And then I can just reprint the G code because it does have a bit of scrolling space if that is how it works. So, well, maybe let's move it back a bit further. Let's move it like, what is this, 6 centimeters back. Layer height, infill, it's 0. No, I don't want 0. I want like 20 on this. No supports. We're not going to need any supports. We're going to do. Oh, you get. Oh, that's interesting. So I guess if you have a different tilt on your tool head. Yeah, because I think the white knight is more shallow. That's interesting. So 45. This, of course, I'm not going to change this. 0.4. Not sure if these are like actual tune profiles or if it's just the defaults that are in Cura. Because, I mean, this printer could definitely profit from using a bigger nozzle. 0.2 is default, 20%. I guess that's all there is to it. We could print this sideways, actually. We could print this 90 degrees rotated so that this is like a very steep overhang at the front and a very shallow overhang at the back. Let me know, chat. Should we print this like that or like this? So this I would call sideways, because now this curve right, this edge right here becomes a really tricky overhang. Sideways or straight? You don't want any overhangs in negative Z. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to see, because a regular 3D, so a straight wall is going to be a 45-degree overhang. If I tilt it a bit forwards, that's going to be like a 60-degree overhang, which most printers kind of manage. And looking at the cooling, I think this should also manage it, but diagonally? Diagonally is actually a pretty cool idea. I think I'm going to do diagonally. Just do sideways won't work. Okay, let's compromise. Let's compromise. Let's do diagonally, like that. That could be, I mean, that. So this front edge, this is still going to be a challenge. This is still going to be, you know, essentially like printing a 50 or 55-degree overhang. Yeah, I want to see how this goes. Prepare. And obviously, if you look at the layer view, well, you can see that there's a whole lot of aliasing, but is this an overhang though? Doesn't look like it. Wait a minute. What side is this printing from? Is it actually printing from this side? Yeah, this looks more like an overhang. You can see how this is actually has a whole lot of overlap area, or overhang area. I'm just going to print this. I want to see what happens. 52 minutes sounds good. Let's eject. I still wish computers had like an eject feature where it like physically popped out the SD card. The front left is the first to print. How does that work though? We'll just see. We will just see, because the card goes in upside down. The way that, so front left. So this point up here, that's not how the nozzle is oriented, is it? So this looks like it. We will see. We will see. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. We need to preheat the printer. Definitely at this point. We need to load in some filament and then we can get it going. So preheat PLA for both because I don't know how long the bed's going to of the model on your screen. Okay, we're just going to see what happens. Photoelectric switch line, I guess that's a spare. It's just an extra end stop in the back. We need filament. We need filament. Oh, that's a nice gold. That's a nice gold. Filament and PLA gold. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And to the sensor. Through the sensor, through the extruder. They're actually using a Bondtech gear in here. I'm gonna have to show you a close-up of that because it is. Oh, it is actually a full dual drive extruder. Okay, I just saw the gear and I was like, oh, they just put the single gear on the motor, but no. Full dual drive extruder. Nice. Oh, and it popped out the bone tube. What is up with that? Why are you not... You're not gripping. Okay. That's not good. Okay, I guess when this was... when this was installed, I guess they left some Bowden tube Teflon shavings in the extruder. Thankfully, they did include spares, so I'm gonna put one of those on. So they did include spares, which is 2 spare nozzles, 2 blue clips, and 2 of these Bowden fittings, and a wrench to install them. So I don't know if they expected this, something, but like. Put a friction clip on, that didn't work. So you're bad, you're good. You go in here. I mean, that's really convenient that they're including spares here, but why is the one that comes on here already clogged up? I'm not actually seeing the teeth in here. Maybe we can snap this one apart in a second. Let's see if this grabs now. Oh yeah, that feels much better. I guess they just ripped this thing out during production or testing or something. Let's cut the filament again. So this goes back in. Again, like I said, it's a prototype, so like any sort of complaints or issues that I find with mine are completely irrelevant for an assessment of the product that you might get. Which, yeah, is kind of... there you go, stuff oozing out. Yeah, it kind of makes it pointless to review pre-production machines and to, you know, look at those in general, but you know, it's why I generally don't test or accept pre-production machines that aren't shipping yet, and that is actually on my website. Everyone can look that up. Anything that's on crowdfunding and hasn't shipped its backers, I generally don't accept. And you know, for the CR-60, like I thought those were all shipped, but you know, by the time that I had the machine in hand, I realized, well, these aren't fully delivered yet. So yeah, but this one I have because I am genuinely interested in the setup and in the printer and how it works and what it does etc. And again, pre-production, anything I complain about on this printer is moot. There you go. Okay, hot it is extruding. The platform is warm. It's kind of curling up on the edge, as you can see. It's flat in the middle, but this edge, like this strip right here, which is like 4 centimeters or something. Yeah, this is curling up on both sides. So up to here where you can kind of see this faint line. Maybe you can see it on the overhead. Nah. This is kind of sticking up, but the printer that's actually going to ship is going to have a different belt, so like, yeah, it's irrelevant how this one performs. I guess that means we are ready for printing. So let's attach card. Where is my print from card? Okay. So we've got this one, PLA, start print, print. Your belt isn't tight. Okay, I kind of really don't want to have to adjust that right now. You can raise the build plate using the 4 screws to tighten it. Okay. Hot and only 185? Yeah, that's weird. I don't want, because I mean, if I raise the bed, that's also going to change, like, literally my bed leveling. I kind of don't want to mess with it right now, because in the middle it feels tight. It feels like this might work at least. Okay, so the printer should be printing. It should be doing something, right? It's heating. Okay, now it's heating up to proper temperature. It's just the 185 was the preheat temperature. There we go. So now, I'll put you on manual focus. So that, I presume, is a prime line. And that is the first edge of our print, which, I mean, it's not a lot of filament. So, of course, cooling is a bit of an issue. And it looks like it's a bit too high up. Yeah, it is kind of lifting. Let me see if I can adjust this. Tune. Baby step Y. Oh. Guessing negative then. 0.1 down. Nope, that didn't help. It's interesting, I mean, because now we have 45 degrees and it's pushing the print away. I just want to try and see what I need to adjust this baby stepping setting to so that this sticks. Because I mean, the following layers still need to stick down, right? How far down can I take this actually? Okay, so up is up, down is down. Let me try the other direction and see if that actually makes it worse or better. I'm not sure if that micro stepping or that baby stepping actually did anything. But this needs to stop. Stop, stop. So thoughts right now. First, I need a quick sip to drink. What I would typically do on printers is just to increase the first layer extrusion width or layer height on the first layer, but it doesn't work like that, right? You can't just do wider extrusion on the layer that's contacting the belt because there is no, it's not a layer, it's the edge of each layer. Okay. I saw bits of Stefan's stream yesterday. I think he had similar issues. What I'm gonna try is, because I'm, the belt is already not quite, you're cooling down, okay. The belt is already not quite tensioned enough. I'm actually gonna try to raise this bed. Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna try to raise this just a bit. That is a really interesting construction. Maybe I can show it to you. So with these screws, these very noisy screws that are not in focus. There we go. So lock nut right there, and there's a screw right here. So I thought, like, what is this? How does this work? Looks like I can screw it up and down, and it's kind of moving, but not really. But once you screw it up far enough, you can see there's like a little block that's actually pushing up on the bed as you undo these, and then these are to hold the bed down. So I'm going to raise this by about 0.5 millimeter or so. Belt wall speed. I'm going to try the... Okay, you're still locked. I'm going to try the bed adjustment first, and then we can see what else we can do. I mean, I might need to just not print it at 45 degrees, because that means it's starting with a very, very fine point that it has to print before it can even do anything. That should be a good bit further up, maybe because this one was so far down. I would need to raise this one also a bit more. That might be too much. It might leave an imprint on the belt. I don't know. Let's just retry. Let's retry this print. Printer should still be a bit warm. Yeah, also you can't really do... Can you do bed leveling test prints on this thing? Not really. You're not going to. So these front parts right here, these are essentially, I mean, that's the cooling plate already, but it's attached to the same subframe, I would assume. I guess you can do bed leveling from one side to the other, but that's it. Use paper as a feeler gauge? Yeah, but the problem is the silicone sock is actually rubbing on the belt before the nozzle does. That might actually also be a problem. All right, I'm going to try the same print one more time. It's heating up. So the bed is already at temperature. No, it's just the hot end that needs a bit of temperature. Is that sock all the way on? Let me see. So it is, it looks like it's actually hanging down. It looks like it's twisted, but can't really push it on any further. There is the hot end sock right there. And I can try and push this up but it's just moving at the back. It's not moving at the front. That's hot. It's not moving at the back. It also looks like it's a bit crooked up front here. So. I don't know if that's giving it any more clearance. Oh. Come on. There's the prime line. Okay, that one's looking a lot better. And then the print is also looking a lot better. Yeah. Yep, this is going to print. Okay. So we've got the little part cooling fan spinning up. There we go. And that is printing. There's the prime line that we can get rid of. Why does it print diagonally like that? Because I chose to. So it's possibly not the preferred rotation for printing a part. Like this is how it's going to be printing, and I'm guessing we're at this edge right here. But I just wanted to see what happens, right? If you just do the easy thing, then you know, where's the fun in that? I might actually have to turn up this light just a bit. We're at 15 right now. That better? Oh yeah, I guess. The problem with these Lumix cameras is you adjust the focus and it jumps into this like super zoomed in mode and can't really make out anything anymore. But yeah, it is printing. Can you show the infill on the slicer? Yes, I can show the infill on the slicer because that is something that, I mean, the printer's going to be, what even is it? Is that, okay, that, I'm getting scales so wrong. These last 2 days I've been printing parts that came out twice as big as I thought. There is infill. So it looks like the infill is actually, what are you? Are you just grid infill? That infill is just, no, that's cubic infill, right? Yeah, it's cubic but at a 45-degree angle. So, I mean, I guess we need to look at it like this, and then as we build it up, we get the typical cubic look. Wow, that is... Can we show all settings, infill? Oh, it's zigzag. It's zigzag? Okay. Okay, this is messing with me. Normal orientation but sliced diagonally. So I'm guessing, like looking. God damn it. So if you guys are having trouble like kind of visualizing how this printer works, the way that I found works for me in understanding how this machine behaves is, you know, this printer is a cube that they've cut off half of it, and you're looking at the cube kind of tilted down. The correct way of, getting my fingers pinched. The correct way of imagining this printer's orientation is like this. So now I think this makes a whole lot of sense, right? You've got your x-axis, you've got your y-axis, it's just the z-axis is now at a 45-degree angle. It's now just tilted down 45 degrees, and you know, if the printer had like a leg back here, if it was standing up like this, it would just, you know, it would be a regular printer that has kind of a slide coming down for your parts. So basically, when you look at this from the top, you know, you've got your x-axis, you've got your y-axis, it's just the z-axis is now at a 45. And where's the CR-30? Yeah, I've upgraded it to a CR-5. Yeah, just look at the printer like this. And the way that things are configured, the way that slicing software works, you know, goes in line with this sort of a setup, right? Now it all makes sense. I'm guessing that they could just ship an extra aluminum profile and let you prop it up like this if you really want to see it as a 3D printer. But like, right? It's easy. It's just a cube with an angled bed. Now, of course, once you put it back down, nothing makes sense anymore. But yeah, actually, the print is actually still looking super clean. Like, there's nothing that I can see here. So yeah, Stefan was struggling yesterday with, like, he was trying to move the bed, and it was like, okay, which axis do I move? X? Nope. Y? Nope. It's Z, right? It's just Z is it's. I kind of want to compare it to how a Core XY platform right here has its two motors. So when you want to move X, it has to move one direction and the other direction. It's not quite that, but yeah. So when you think about how your part geometry needs to work for these sort of printers, and oh, this is actually in frame. When you think about how your part geometry needs to work, it's along those same lines. Like you need to imagine, okay, my part is now printed propped up 45 degrees at one edge, and will a part print like that if I print it standing up like this? So yeah, I'm glad that's the correct way of explaining it, William. The y x y cos okay, yeah, but glad I did explain that correctly. Sometimes my brain does work. Print's looking good, except for the front edge, which I knew was going to be a bit of a challenge, but so far so good. I'm interested in seeing how this belt is going to look once we take the print off, because what I saw on Stefan's stream yesterday was that the belt got really glossy where he was printing it. So that might be a sign of degradation, might be a sign of the belt just melting together and getting ironed flat or anything, but yeah, that's going to be something I can see once this thing comes off. Let the belt feed into open space like off the table. Yeah, that does work. Creality got 30% off the Z-axis and charges full price. Yeah, Moritz, I'm going to show that real quick. Infill options available in the slicer. Let me just config for background slicing. So if you're not familiar, Cura also has these slice automatically, which is called background processing or something in Slick3R or Prusa Slicer. So the Creality belt Cura still has everything in here. I guess it even has gyroid in here. So let's see. Yeah, gyroid looks like it works. But again, it's at a 45-degree angle. That works. We can do cubic. Okay, not much to see there because our infill density is not really high enough. Let's do 40. So yeah, cubic works. Yeah, what is cross? I've not used Cura or modern Cura in a while. Ooh, okay, that's a cross pattern. That's like, what is that, Disney Channel thing? Sub-brand they have in there that looks like that. But anyways, yeah, all the infill options are there. All the ones that you'd want to use anyways. Okay, Ronald, that's a good tip. Don't pry the part off, but advance the belt. So yeah, that does give it, that does kind of like automatically, there's weird stuff in the way. That does peel it off nicely over this rounded edge. And there, this Creality logo up front here, this is actually a part peeler. So maybe, yeah, you can see it's not very sharp, but this just kind of slices your parts off once they roll over this edge. One interesting thing I'm noticing here is that this is a dual fan cooling setup. So there's two of these radial fans. What are these? 4040s? 5050s? 4040? Small compact radial fans. And a dual blower style part cooling, which I guess really helps this printer because, you know, anything that would be considered a normal, like trivial overhang is kind of a challenge for this sort of a printer, because like just a straight up wall is already 45 degree of an overhang. So you do need all the cooling you can get to get those, like anything that is an overhang in this forward direction. I mean, you can see with the way that the nozzle is aligned, this is 45, this is 60, this is 90. So it really kind of needs that help. I can zoom in even further. Oh. Try vase mode. Ooh, I shall try that. Do I have anything that slices in vase? I don't think vase mode, vase mode work. I guess it could work. Thanks, Imponi, for the 99. Do I have a vase? Do I have a vase? Do I have some pot base, I guess? I'm gonna try this in a slicer first before I switch you guys over. Pot planter. Well, I guess not the ideal vase mode. Let me even see if they have vase mode in here, which is called spiral contour. So there is spiralized outer contour in the slicer. And it does, I mean, okay, this is not a solid part that would work for vase mode, but it does something. Like it could work, but I mean, you can see it's not printing the vase straight up as you would expect. It's printing it sideways, so it could work. It could work. Yeah, there's topologically there's no difference in how a model needs to look for vase mode on a regular XY printer versus XY perpendicular printer versus a belt printer like this. Why is it periodically stopping for a short time? I've not noticed that. I mean, might be retracts that he's seeing. By the way, noise on this is actually pretty good. The two fans that they've got on here that I just talked about, well, 3 in total, I guess. I feel like they're actually a bit quieter than what we've got on the CR-60 or in a 3v2. Actually, I can measure how loud it is. It's about a meter away. Yeah, so it's hovering around 46.5 decibels on this highly, on this super precise, what brand is this? This doesn't even have a brand on it. on this super precise decibel meter. 46.5, the Ender 3 and CR-60 were around 50. However, once this does the retract move, it kind of resonates a lot, so it does jump up to 50. So on average, it is actually a bit quieter than the CR-60 in the 3v2. Loudest fan is the cooling fan for the CPU. Okay, yeah, so there is an extra fan in the base compartment. So just for reference, like tool head is back here, all the electronics are up front, which is why it plugs in like at the front corner right here. Power supply here, and then I guess the SD card is up here, so all the electronics I guess are like in this front right corner then. So somewhere around here. And there is a fan in the compartment that I can hear, but it's a lower pitch noise than what we've got on the tool head. So these two make a bit of a, I mean, my microphone is like, you can't even see that. Microphone's on my collar here. So the two fans are a bit of a higher pitched one, and the one in the electronics compartment is a bit of a lower pitched noise, but overall, not the loudest machine I've ever heard. How is the noise compared to a Prusa Mark III's? It is still louder. Like the Noctua fans on the Prusa machines really do make a difference. Yeah. But I guess if you do a bit of tuning and maybe replace the fans or do something like that, you could get to the same level. However, once you engage quiet mode on the Mark III, like that printer is practically inaudible. And I've not had another printer that came close to that. Seems a slow print. So everyone's talking about slow prints. The thing is this. So this is a part that is rather small, which means that the minimum layer time is a real concern for this. I would assume that it does get slowed down for just for cooling reasons. And that was actually one of the reasons why I wanted to print it sideways, so that one layer would actually be a bit more material versus printing it longitudinally, and basically in the how you'd print a sword direction.
I love your videos and you got me into 3D printing. Keep up the awesome work. Hope you have a good December.
Alright, thanks for that, Head Pony. Hope you have a great December. Hope you guys have a, well, hope everyone watching is having a great December as well. I mean, at least it's going to be better than what this year has been so far, right? Really looking forward to 2022. Okay. So let me swing this one around. So you guys can have a look at its. Oh, actually, that's a nice perspective as well, because we've got some more of the print visible. We now have a print that's starting to look like something. But if I swing you guys around, and I don't want to swing you guys around the other way because that's where the power cord is, you can have a look at its underside and where it's printing. Oh, I can just flip out the screen and focus like that. Ha! I guess there's not much to see there. Yeah, so it really is just the entire gantry on the back here moving up and down and kind of moving on this plane. Right there. And then, you know, the belt just does little z-axis increments. What is the longest thing anyone has 3D printed? NASA did a 37.7 meters. Yeah, I guess if you do tall, then yeah, you can actually have parts that are pretty long. But I'm sure the people that have a CR-30 or the iFactory printer, they're going to be posting some pretty long stuff pretty soon. I think either Hack3D or someone already posted like a crazy long print. I don't know how long exactly it was. I think it was over 6 meters. But yeah. "20 feet. That's 6 meters, yeah. Okay, Zero Alra Zero is asking, hey, what's the point of this printer? Yeah, now we have to worry about bed adhesion on every bit. But here's the thing about bed adhesion. Maybe I shall show this from this perspective. Okay, so on this printer, there's really only one point or one line on this entire printer where you have to worry about bed adhesion. It's not here. It's not here. Like all this stuff, this is just dead space essentially. This is not active in your printer at all. Like this is just area where the print is supposed to still stick down until it can release. So anything that moves forward, like this bit right here, that's already moved forward, this is done. The entire point is to hold the print down so that, you know, it can add its next layer on. The only area where you have to worry about bed adhesion is like this line right here where the nozzle contacts. That extruder just skipped. This line right here where the nozzle contacts the belt. And really, these two screws, I'd guess, really are everything that adjusts that line. This adjustment right here doesn't matter. And also, like on a bed, on a regular 3D printed bed, you'd have to level the entire area and worry about, hey, is this bit a bit taller than this bit? Here's really just left side, right side, that's it. So reliability, I would maybe even say if this belt material works out, could even be better than, you know, what you've got on just a regular square XYZ printer. Maybe. This extruder is skipping, or at least it's making skipping noises, which is not what I want to hear. You guys are hearing that, right? It is moving quite a bit on retracts. That's like 6mm retracts or something. Where's one of those? But so far the print looks fine. It's 8mm retracts. Wow. Wow. I guess the kind of long bone tube shows. So far, this is still no. It is not looking good. In fact, there's some pretty visible skips in here.
Hey Tom, tuning in from Colorado. Loving the new camera angles. Keep up the great work and have a good holiday season.
Thanks for that, Dean, and greetings back to Colorado. All the camera angles. Zoomed, C camera, zoomed. Not that he's seeing anything there. Well, I guess it's a cool angle too. top camera zoomed. Yeah, I mean, this is all you want to see. This is kind of falling apart now. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe I can grab this camera real quick. And I'll switch off of this so I don't get you guys seasick. Short HDMI cable. But you guys can see that, like that bit back there. That's kind of falling apart. Like, I'm not sure what was going on there. It seems to be fine now. But I'm guessing it's really just the retract from one side to the other that is a bit too much for the extruder. It seems to have recovered. So, not exactly sure what was going on there. Now back on the tripod you go. And back on manual focus you go. There we go. I mean, that's looking better. I really don't know what's going on. Yeah, Daniel, still got some great angles. The camera that got replaced is actually so I sent Gina, Octoprint developer, obviously, Gina Heuske, I sent her my one of my spare cameras after I replaced this top camera with a cheap modular camera that's usually used for microscopes. 4K 60 camera, so this is 60 frames now. The only G70 that's still left is this right here. So you can see that's 25 frames, I think, or 30. And then this, 60. 30? 60. I just like 60 frames. And I've got this camera set to 4K 30 instead of 1080p 60 because I want to be able to zoom in. And if you zoom in on a 1080p camera, on a 1080p stream, like, you're going to lose resolution. But if you crop in on a 4K camera and then stream in 1080, you don't lose any quality. So yeah, that's the last camera that still needs replacing. But yeah, I had a spare Panasonic G7, and Gina was like, hey, I maybe need a new camera, and I was like, well, have mine. Before I go through the pain of selling it and get cease and desist on eBay, which has happened to me just 2 weeks ago for 480 euros. Yeah, I was like, okay, I'd rather give this crap away because like, there's no point in selling it. So yeah, I hope Gina's going to make good use of that camera. She said she's going to use it for like Octoprint Live or videos or that sort of stuff. And if it helps her, then it helps everyone. Cool. Why are people still supporting Chinese-made printers? Well, why not? Like, I think I've said this before. If it's a good product, I don't really care where it's made. Like, if it's made in the US, it's an import printer. If it's made in China, it's an import printer for me. Like, there are no German-made printers, so what's the difference? But for the reason why people keep buying them, well, it's because there's economical benefits in buying a printer for $260 versus buying one for $1,000. And yeah, it fits. It has, I mean, as long as there are customers for it, then, you know, products will exist and people will keep buying it. So yeah. Yeah, there is a Dutch brand that makes 3D printers, but I don't think they're really competing with the $260 ones that you know, Creality make. You know, the Ultimaker 3S or S3 or whatever it's called is like, it's a couple grand. So yeah. How much is this printer? So this specific one, like I've pointed out before, this specific one is on Kickstarter right now. It's like $600, $800, depending on whether you get the early bird or the later bird, or you flip them a bird. Depends when you get it. It's less than $1,000. Let's put it like that, which is significantly cheaper than the other belt printers that were available up until now, because these are being sort of mass produced now. Regular price, I think, is going to be like $1,000 or something. And yeah, that's that. And the other question, I think, was what's the best printer in the €400 range besides the Prusa Mini? I guess I should really put this into a video at some point, but I really have a problem with calling something the best when I've not evaluated every other option there is. And I don't think there are any 3D printer publications or channels. Well, not, channels definitely not, because like it's a lot of work to do a video on a printer. But I don't think that there's anyone who's really tested all available printers. So saying something is the best printer is like impossible. You know, it's taken me a month to review four and a half printers. So with Creality bringing out a new printer like every 2 months or something, with ANET bringing out a new printer at that same speed, Elegoo, Anycubic, AlphaWise, then of course all the Western brands as well bringing out new machines every now and then. It's like, dude, all I'd be doing is printer reviews. One every week I could be doing, and I'd still not cover every printer. So yeah, I'm not going to say something is the best printer. And I think like barely anyone can really tell you, okay, this is the best printer. I really like the Ender 3v2 that I've reviewed recently. I think that is a good starter printer. It's not perfect, no printer is, but at the price it's selling at, it's a good start. Prusa Mini, also good printer, but it's a different experience. Prusa Mini is much more complete out of the box, as in like slicer experience, and I think that is worth a lot. But if you're happy with a single PLA profile that's pre-tuned, then you know, Ender 3v2 is obviously also a good option. Prusa made a Quarks wide bite. Well, I don't. It's supposed to be like a Prusa XL or something, right? With a tool changer. But I doubt that's going to be very cheap. The filament looks yellower on the print and more golden on the spool. Yeah, I guess it's just camera white balance. This, on the screen that I'm seeing, this is kind of more like what it's looking like. Filamentum PLA, I don't know what this color is called. Something gold, I think. But this is a bit more yellowish than it actually is.
Is this CE tested?
Thanks for the 5, Carl. So this printer has a CE logo on it. It has an FCC logo on it as well. I believe it is not tested for the, what's it called, Maschinenrichtlinie, the rules for making machinery, basically, which, for example, Prusa, I've recently posted on that on Twitter. Prusa complies with the machine regulations that are part of CE for production machines, which is a lot more stricter and a lot more, you know, taking care of, okay, are there pinch hazards? Is this, skipping again, is this printer capable of harming you? All that sort of stuff is a lot more flashed out in the machine guidelines. But yeah, this is CE, so that is complying to the low voltage directive as well as the EMC. So those are the two things that they are saying this machine adheres to. CE isn't necessarily an independently tested seal of quality or seal of approval or anything like TÜV GS, geprüfte Sicherheit, as in like they have actually tested this and deemed it safe. CE is something that is basically saying, okay, we are adhering to the rules that are set out by the European Union, which, by the way, CE isn't like something that is just there to tease manufacturers and to say, oh yeah, but you've got to jump through these hoops to be able to sell in our markets. No, that those rules are actually there to protect you, the customer, the people using these things. So it's something that I've started looking at a bit more, whether the testing certificates that are provided look legit, and whether the companies that have done the testing and certification look legit, and all that sort of stuff. It's never 100%, but it's like, if you don't have any sort of a testing certificate, that's a big red flag. If you do have one, like, it could still be fake, it could still be just partially tested, or somebody's been paid to just sign this off without actually looking at it super deeply, but at least it's a bit it's a bit better than not having anything. Okay. Is it actually CE or China export? So it is the CE, the proper CE logo. China export, like a lot of you pointed out on the video for the artillery, I think, China export isn't a real thing. Like, it is just, it's not something that is actually regulated or anything. It's just something that manufacturers, I guess, essentially made up, so they could have something that looks like a CE logo, but they wouldn't actually have to do the CE testing. But this one actually has the CE logo, which is protected by, is it copy? It's like, this is protected by the European Union as like an official mark, basically. So yeah. The Inspect 3105, that's Maschinenrichtlinie, right? Okay. The open source spec. Right. Loan Tech, so you've got the Loan Tech is saying, okay, you can get CE markings by using components approved for those uses like standard power supplies. Tricky one. Now, again, I'm no total expert on this, but I've done, that sounds like I got my knowledge on Facebook. No. The thing is this, so you can skip parts of the CE certification or testing process by using, for example, a power supply, which is the only part that connects to the mains voltage, to 230 volts here, and then your entire printer runs off of 12, 24, 48 volts. 48? No, under 40. And you can then self-certify the rest of the printer, and you can say, okay, we've built the rest of the printer to the CE low voltage directive, and we say the rest of the printer is fine, but the manufacturer of the power supply says, okay, our high voltage side is fine. And yes, that does skip a lot of the documentation process and all that, but you still have to adhere to those rules. You still have to adhere to these CE rules and make sure your printer is safe, even if you are using a CE certified, a CE tested power supply that basically skips you or saves you from having to do from having to like fully document and get your printer certified or the rest of the machine certified the typical way that you'd have to do for the case when you weren't using a CE certified or CE tested power supply. Justin Taylor was asking, hey, what would you recommend for a second printer? As I'm only starting out 3D printing. Depends. Really depends what you're going for. Like second printer, do you need something that is more capable, as in does more materials? Do you need something that just adds to your printing output? Do you just need like a second workhorse so you can have two printing at the same time? Do you need something that does like super fine details, like resin printers? Like, or multicolor, like the Mark II multi-material. Mark II, well, Mark II is a pretty old machine right now. Multi-material MMU2. Yeah, which fits onto the Mark III series of printers. Really depends. I mean, I would personally always want one printer that just works, that just I know is gonna work no matter what, where I have good profiles for, and then the second one can be more of an experimental one, which is why I'm keeping one of my Prusa Mark IIIs just completely stock, completely unmodified, not doing anything to it. The other one is out of commission right now because there's Volcano on it, there's like a different Y-axis rail system on it, there's like all this stuff done to it, but I can't really use it with anything that I've got set up now. So yeah, if you're getting a second printer, I would say get one that you know is going to print and can print replacement for the second one if you have to. And then the second one, just, you know, do whatever, you know, adds the capabilities that you are looking for in a printer. CTC13A, what are you? CTC, no, A13. What even are you? 116 euros. Wow. Okay. Well, then I would probably get one that's kind of reliable at least. So like Prusa Mini. Whew. Okay. Dede Nirvan is asking, hey, do 45-degree printers need no support? That is a great question. So, I showed this just a second ago. Actually, you need to zoom out a bit further for this. Now, the easiest way to demonstrate that is, imagine this printer actually is this. So, that's what the printer is. You've got your x-axis, you've got your y-axis, you've got your z-axis. Now anything that tilts forward, so tilts out of this bed plane more than 45 degrees, is going to need support. Anything that tilts like this way more than 45 degrees is going to run into the bed, so you can't really do anything more than 45 degree this way. Now, because this printer isn't situated like this, but it's actually printing like that, now your 45-degree point is just printing straight up, and anything that leans forward, so away from your toolhead is back here, anything that leans away from your toolhead, away from the nozzle axis, well, nozzle axis is like that, anything that leans more than 45 degrees forward is going to need support, which is why you're seeing the benchies that are printed on the CR-30's Kickstarter video. They've got a bunch of benchies they're printing, and you can see them. I think they're printing it like this. So they've got benchies coming out like that. So the back here, straight up, is okay. This side, with its 45-degree overhang, is, you can see, is tilted into the nozzle. So this is basically just this is becoming a top surface, so this is fine as well. Now this side back here, this isn't totally straight. This is like a 30-degree overhang or something. This has a bit of support on it. So you can see that on the video that they're printing, that they're intentionally printing it like this, because otherwise you need to have support like all under the bow here. They've just got a little bit of support back here. And yeah, they're printing it like that, and that's fine. That works. But of course, you do need support when something is angled away from the nozzle by too much. What, Andrew? fell asleep. I then had a print fail mid-print. Don't fall asleep then. Yeah, so maybe I can find that. That's not a CR-30 print, by the way. I think that's from the end of 3v2. Maybe I can find that point in the kick. Oh, skips again. In the CR-30 video. At some point they're printing benchies. Oh yeah, look at this. Oh, sticks. Yes. Yeah. Microscopes. Where is the benchies? Where is the benchies? I thought they had benchies in this. Was it a different video? I saw benchies fall off a print bed at some point. But yeah, you this backside, if it was printed like this backside would need support material. So like that needs support. And again, it's because if you're tilting this up 45 degrees, you can see how that angle becomes. They printed them on a live stream, right? You can see how that angle becomes more than the 45-degree overhang that can typically be printed. So how is our print doing? Well, there's a bit of a problem with the extruder. So you can really see that skip now. Guessing that's just something that they're gonna have to work out. There is a really visible gap here, and I think once this tries to peel off, it is actually going to crack. Otherwise, it's looking good. Those sticks, yeah. Why am I not using a suit while we're using it? Why am I not wearing a suit while using it? Well, got a suit, but at last I've worn that was I don't even know when I've last worn a suit. It's been a while. This is looking good, and we are, I'd say, like 75% through the print. So this is the area where we were skipping just a minute ago, so these two small segments. Is that like the inception effect? If I could get it right. You can kind of see, like here, really big gaps where the extruder was cutting out. And I think up here somewhere we got another skip. Yeah, I don't know if this printer can print faster or if this is just by cooling. Actually, I can. How could I try that? Does Cura have a? Has a feed rate view, so I'm gonna try that out real quick with the model dropped back in. I'm just gonna see if it actually slows down. So if we go to feed rate, well, if we go to feed rate, we're not really seeing much. What is this? Is this really 3 millimeters a second? Nah. The print is printing faster. If you look at speed, print speed is set to 40. Infill 30.
Danke für deine interessanten und hilfreichen Videos. Thanks for all your interesting and helpful content.
So yeah, I'm guessing it is really just set to a pretty slow print speed. 30 millimeters a second, 40 millimeters a second on like inner walls. That is pretty slow. Guessing it's even slower than what the Inner 3v2, etc. were set to. But I don't see a reason why this printer couldn't print faster. Like we've got Gates power belts. You can see those in the background. These are, if I can get this touchscreen to work, these are, I guess, genuine Gates belts, 10 millimeters wide. So these should be fairly rigid. And, you know, Core XY isn't known for being a particularly slow motion system. Maybe I guess the gravity weight, because this is basically pulling the entire tool head this direction the entire time. Maybe that could be an issue. That like on the way down there's less force on the motion system, on the way up there's more. Maybe that's one of the limiting factors, but other than that, I don't see like why this printer should be limited to just 40 millimeters a second in print speed, especially since moves are at 150. And thanks for the $10.99, Frank. Glad you're enjoying the videos. Or William Steele is tapping out. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for helping me through this setup process. Good to have you here, and see you later. Justin is asking, do you think there's room for improvement with the treadmill, with the 3D print mill? So where would you look to improve it? Whew. I mean, those kind of questions are always a bit tricky. Like, hey, should I buy this printer? Thank you for the review. Like after doing a live stream for 2 hours and just unboxing it and trying one single print. Where would I see improvement? The manual, I guess, the setup process. Just break it down into more steps. Just have it a bit more granular. Explain like the leveling setup. I mean, I guess it's interesting to do it just the first time, but the Y adjustment, so the nozzle height adjustment, maybe not super intuitive with the mechanical end stops. I guess those are really just there to stop this entire thing from coming crashing down when you power it off and when it just drops down due to gravity. But just maybe, especially since the silicone sock on my hot end seems to be improperly cut. I'm guessing if that was properly cut, you would already be able to level it with a piece of paper. Just that's the setup process. I guess it's just it's not something you're used to. It's not like, hey, you've set up a Cartesian printer a couple dozen times. You just know what to do. You know how to level the nozzle. I don't even use paper anymore. I just look at it and it's like, yeah, this is gonna work. Here it's just completely new. It's just a whole new experience versus using a Cartesian machine. It's not a beginner printer, obviously, but I mean, for really saying, okay, how could this be improved? I think I'm really going to have to use this for a while and put it through its paces. So far, I guess, yeah, put a color screen on it would look nicer, but this one works. Put a different spool mount on it, but that's like petty details. That's not something that is like the core of the printer, which is the belt system, really. Like Core XY is the Core XY of the printer, but the belt system is really what's unique about this. I know Creality can do this, the entire extrusion, you know, hot end extruder. They can do that. They know how to build those sort of systems. The belt is really the interesting thing, and that's, I think, just something I'm going to have to you know, experience and try out over a couple dozen prints. Direct drive would be an improvement. I'm guessing there is really there is sort of a weight limit on how much this this angled core XY can hold, because any weights you put onto this tool head is not just weight that the printer now has to move around dynamically, it's also weight that needs to be supported the entire time. Like it really needs to be held up against gravity the entire time. And I don't know if adding a stepper motor onto this axis would make that a bit too hard on the motors. I am not sure. I mean, it looks like there would be space for a direct drive motor, definitely, but I guess there's a reason for it. E3D Titan wouldn't add much, yeah, if you use the small pancake style motor. So there is, who was asking about that? Yeah, EasyY 3D Lab, trying to look for the slicer. Now, there doesn't seem to be a direct download link. What they are including is Creality Belt Cura, which I guess functionally is pretty much the same as the Black Belt Cura, which you can download. It is not the exact same software though. So the Creality Belt Cura has the profile for the printer belt built in, obviously. So as you saw earlier, I just selected the profile and it was set up, and I was able to slice a part for this printer, and it worked for the most part. But if you just want to get a feel for what this printer can do in general and what belt printers can do, the Black Belt Cura definitely does work for that. And you can set up custom profiles in there. Is there any reason why you couldn't mount the extruder on the top center? So instead of having it out the side, mounting it here. I guess you could do that, and I guess that would shorten the Bowden tube slightly, because right now it needs to reach from here to there, and then it would just need to reach from the center to there. So I guess that could work, and there's profiles there, and I mean this one has a plate that it's attached to. But yeah, you could pretty easily remove that and move it back here and then shorten the Bowden tube. That could work. How many decibels? I measured and it was like 46. And then when you have an extruder move, you get 50-ish. The thing is, this table is one of those cheap, hollow IKEA tables. So anything that is resonances does add a lot more to the noise than on a really solid desk. But I guess that makes up for this house being built from brick and concrete, versus U.S. houses transferring a lot more of your vibrations throughout the house, whereas here it's more the actual direct sound that it hears. So yeah, 40 in this configuration, sitting on this table, it's 46 decibels average, and then like 50 peaks up to 50-ish. And the extruder is skipping again. And the 3v2 is around 50. That print looks under-extruded. It's not under-extruded, it's just like these bits up here. Extruded is skipping. So you were maybe able to hear that just a second ago, but there is definitely skipping noise going on, and something wrong with the extruder. I don't know if it's the driver overheating or a loose connection or whatever. I'm gonna have to look into that. Ooh, Neris is here. What? Oh yeah. Hey there. And it's skipping again. It's not the filament pulling or anything. It's really just the extruder. Driver not set to the right current. Can I open this up while it's printing? I guess I could. Print is almost done. Let's have a quick look inside. So if I set this, no, it shouldn't collide with anything. Anything, should it? Yeah, that should work. Now the extruder is skipping even more. Electronics is back here. Why is there dust on this? There's dust on this thing. I don't know how long this was running already. But we can have a cheeky look inside. Yeah, by the way, this is not having any trouble at all printing on its side, it looks like. These steps may be too high, yeah, but then it wouldn't like have gaps in there. It would just skip every now and then and not extrude for a bit and then make up for it. Are those filters? Well, those are like the very coarse style. I guess I could show you. Those are like the very coarse style meshes that you sometimes see on computer cases and stuff. They do work for keeping out like cat hair and stuff, but yeah. Aren't TMC 2208 and 2209 set in softer? Well, you can set them in softer, but you don't have to. They still support the good old trim pot or just the manual pot. But as far as I know, Creality printers haven't used that. Yulia, I'm glad you've been learning along. I'm glad I was able to provide some helpful knowledge for you. Okay. Oh, there's a fan that I maybe don't want to unplug. Yeah, that fan is kind of noisy. That camera is kind of out of focus. This one is all juiced up in hot glue. Oh yeah, now you're in focus. Cool. And as you can see, there are little potentiometers right next to these drivers. So they have something that is non-metallic. Yeah. So there, 1, 2, 3, 4 little potentiometers. They're all set, to like 1 o'clock. So just a bit over the midpoint. I don't know what that means on these drivers. It also depends on the other resistors they're using for these drivers. But yeah, it looks like these heat sinks might have a bit of a big gap of this thermal adhesive because they're not all on straight. It looks like the X and Y are on straight, and it could be that this one is just tilted too much, so the gap of this thermal goop that you've got under here might just be too big to actually make good contact and to give it a good thermal transfer. Otherwise, what else can I say about wiring? What else are we seeing here? Again, keep in mind this is pre-production. But we do have, that's live down there, I don't want to touch that. So we do have a lot of grounding going on. Grounding into the frame, then grounding back out of the frame and going into the wiring looms, and then grounding the screen, grounding the tool head. Lots of grounding going on. Creality V4.2.10 mainboard. I'm guessing this is the same sort of mainboard that they're using on all their printers. yeah, looks okay. Looks good. And I'm actually going to close this back up because there is live voltage in here and I don't want to get electrocuted on stream. And also, the print is about to finish, as you obviously can see there. I'm just going to try and put one screw in, that should be enough. Okay. Oh yeah, 32-bit versus 8-bit. Let me check. Yeah, obviously ARM 32-bit. It's got to be the same F103 processor, though I can't really see it here. But yeah, STM32 F103, which really is one of the weaker processors that you can get. But surely it is enough for a 3D printer, since even the 8-bit at Megas can handle a 3D printer just fine. The ANET ET4 is using an F4, which is a significantly more powerful processor, but like it's not doing anything with it. So yeah, it really depends on the software that's running on these. Okay, and yeah, print looks unscathed. The print looks very blurry, that's for sure. And it is almost done. Does the plate cover up the power supply fan? No, there is a hole, or at least a meshed hole for the power supply inlet. Earth wire into the chassis and then back out again, is that allowed? Yeah, definitely. Why wouldn't it be? It's a metal connection. It's the same plate, even. There's no like connectors like an angle bracket or something in between. It's got to be fine. Can the belt be replaced? How durable is it? So the belt is replaceable, I'd guess. I mean, it has to be, right? It doesn't look like it's particularly easily replaceable, but should be. I mean, it should be. It must be doable. The belt on Kickstarter, if you get it like an extra one, I think is like $43 or something. So it should be replaced every year. It's like $43 extra, which I think is actually pretty good. Ooh. Oh yeah, they have been printing on this one. You guys seeing that? That scar back there? Seeing that? Is a pretty big scar on this thing. Belt is replaceable, $43 roughly. I don't know how much it's going to cost retail, but it is quite an amount of belt that you get on this printer. Supposedly it does last pretty long. You do get a lot of surface, you do get a lot of print surface on this thing. Like this is easily like 4 times as much as on a typical 220 by 220 millimeter bed, because obviously it does rotate, it does shuffle around which areas you print on. So it's not just always like the center of your bed you're printing on. You disperse that, or you disperse? Yeah, you spread out the areas where you're printing. So I'm guessing it should last long. Now, again, this type of belt that this printer has is not the one that they're going to ship. They're going to ship a different one for the actual Kickstarter backers. And then once this thing goes on sale regularly, it might be yet another type, or it might be just a small improvement. If you're printing in 45-degree angle, doesn't it make longer prints less durable? Yeah, so, well, it does make parts that would otherwise be printed standing straight up. So like if you have a printer that does like 300 millimeters in Z height, if you would print like a sword blade in 3 pieces and just have it standing up straight like this on a regular printer, right? You'd have layer, 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 layer. You'd have, you know, a fairly small surface area between each layer that's contacting the next one. If you lay it down flat, of course, you now get the full strength of like the intra-layer material strength. Oh, we are feeding? Okay. However, okay, let me just finish this thought. However, if you print at 45 degrees, you get like 40% more surface area from each layer to the next. So you always have layer transitions, but they are 40% larger than 41% than if you're printing straight up. If you're printing flat, laying flat down, of course you have no layer transitions, so you get full intra-layer strength. Print's done. Well, it looks like it's actually curling a bit, but that might just be an illusion. So I guess at this point we could straight up just print another one. We could just start the next one, right? But as Stefan did as well, and I've watched the stream, so I know it is the y-axis, home Z. I know it is the z-axis, Z, depending on where you're from. Move 10 is pretty slow. So we're just gonna move like 300, 400. So I mean, this belt doesn't need to be particularly fast, but and while this is speeding forward, who asked will it do vase mode? Peter Thinks was asking, will it do vase mode? Yes, we tried that out earlier in the stream, and well, at least I sliced something in vase mode, and it does look like it's going to be doing vase mode. And there's really nothing that would prevent it from doing vase mode either, so yeah. Why has it parked so close to the bed? Oh, has it actually dropped down? No. So it's making a line. Why has it parked so close to the bed? Oh, there comes the release. And there we go. And you can see there's a bit of a glossy spot. See right there, there is a bit of a glossy spot where the part was. So I'm guessing that's just the fibers that got kind of toasted together slightly. Yeah, it looks like just the high points were melted together on this belt. The material is still there, the material is still the same. Now let's look at the part that we got. Yeah, so this was printed 45 degrees. So in like traditional 3D printer terms, I guess it would have been printed like this. So if this was a traditional printer bed, it would have stuck down like that, right? 45 degrees tilted back, and because I was also putting it 45 degrees on the bed like this. So layers are oriented like that. So these will be traditional layers. However, the tool head is, it's moving down, so yeah. You can kind of see how the layers are oriented differently in this printer. That's the entire cool thing about this printer. Now, of course, you've got this huge, ugly gap where the extruder skipped. Like that shouldn't be happening. And I guess these lines up here also are extruder issues. And you can see like the surface finish isn't super consistent. But these holes in the back here, which would typically be a bit of a mess to print, these printed well. And yeah, you can also see the texture that the belt leaves. Maybe if I can get it to gloss. Yeah, you can definitely see the weave. And on the other side, you cannot see the layers at all, except for the bit where the extruder skipped. Are those black spots from the shroud rubbing? I guess it's the shroud, and it's like the nozzle and a few bits of like nozzle boogers, nozzle boogers that got burned up. Yeah, but there's your part. It's not the prettiest. Gotta say, it is definitely not the prettiest. But this is a freshly, oh, yeah, and obviously because, you know, when you've got extruder skips, then it isn't the strongest either. Now in this direction, it should actually be fairly strong. Yeah, it is. In this direction where you have the layers, it does crack. So that might have also been an extruder skip, but interesting. What I do like is that the finish on the edges is kind of the same all around. So the top surfaces have kind of the same layer style finish as the sides. On the bottom has the belt texture as the other side, as the back. Like they all look the same. There's no distinct, okay, this is a top surface, this is a side surface. They all have this 45-degree layer texture on it. That is interesting. And also the performance on just how well it prints features. It's also pretty good, but again, this was a part that wasn't very challenging either. So I guess I'm just gonna have to do a bit more experimenting with this. Yeah, it's a very interesting concept. It has potential. I'm guessing that the belt really does need a bit more tuning. And maybe mine needs a bit more tightening, just to get rid of those. Like maybe you can see it, but the layers look a bit inconsistent. Very, very interesting though. So I'm gonna have to be. I'm gonna hold it more precise at 45 degrees. Can you put a glass bed on it? I guess you could, but you'd have to do segments. You'd have to do like little strips that then fold around and come back up. But you could definitely put a glass bed on it. What material does the belt compare to? They say it's nylon, but it's a very hard type of nylon. Don't really have a comparison to a traditional bed. Anyways, I'm gonna have to do some more experimenting on this setup. That's the part I got. My specific sample of this CR-30 has issues with the extruder. Like, I don't know if it's overheating, I don't know if the heatsink is not on properly, I don't know if there's a mechanical issue. Beats me. I'm gonna have to investigate that. Yeah, like I said, pre-release model. My experiences here, bad or good, have nothing to do with what's going to be shipped on the Kickstarter. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining me on this experience of a Belt 3D printer. If you enjoyed the live stream, give it a thumbs up. So I might do another one at some point. If you guys like it, if you don't, then give it a thumbs down, and I'll stop doing them. Get subscribed, Patreon, YouTube memberships, all that. You can find the info below. Thank you for watching. Have a great Sunday tomorrow, or Saturday if it's still Saturday for you. Goodbye. Where's my end? There's my end button. Goodbye.